Friends, the global supply chain is being intentionally sabotaged. There's no way of getting away from that. The decisions that are being made up on high it could be chalked up for incompetence only so far, to the point where we are seeing just, it's not gross incompetence, it is intentional work. How can we tell that? The biggest reason we can tell that it is intentional is because they're telling us it is intentional. All right, folks, welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. I am still in Eastern Kentucky doing disaster relief. I am pre-recording these videos, so I'm still at home. I'm just about to hop in the car to head down to Eastern Kentucky. I am giving you updates as much as I can on this channel, but if you want to see more like interviews and more like walkthroughs of disaster relief equipment and stuff like that down in Kentucky, you want to go down to the description down below and find my iMissions channel. Sub over there and check out the videos there after this video. All right, let's walk through why we know that this is a controlled demolition of our supply chains. What are the big impacts of our on the supply chain? We keep getting told the cough when we had all those shutdowns because of the cough, and yet we see that we have continued shutdowns over in Dragon Country, and they seem to be targeted in on industrial zones. What it seems like is that Dragon Country is using the targeted shutdowns in order to hamper the manufacturing of goods and particularly parts. If they can not supply those parts to particularly the United States, then those the industries in the United States will be dramatically impacted there because they can't get certain supplies, certain chemicals, certain pieces of equipment that they need in order to operate their businesses. We've become so dependent upon Dragon Country that now they can do as a form of economic warfare by simply not producing certain things. We always feared that they would do this with rare earth minerals. So we let Dragon Country do all the processing on rare earth minerals. They're not rare. There's plenty of them all over the planet. The problem is when you process a lot of these things like magnets and such, you get so much ecological waste that in Western countries, we just don't want all that nasty chemicals and acids and just nasty stuff in the air and in the water and in the ground. And so what we've done is we've just said, oh, well, Dragon Country will make it for free, basically, over in their country, and they'll just pollute their country. And so that's what we let them do, and they were happy to do it. They did that not only with that, but with many strategic materials and with many strategic items. They subsidized their businesses so that they could get a market share dominance. And then now they're using these targeted shutdowns in order to cripple America's economy as well as Europeans' economy. So basically, they don't have to declare war. They can just cripple our economies with surgical attacks on industries. They know that certain parts, certain materials, certain minerals, if we don't get those into the United States from them, we're going to have factories shutting down. And that's what we see here in the United States is factory after factory after factory is having to throttle production or shut down entirely because they can't get the raw materials, they can't get the parts, they can't get the machinery in order to keep their production lines going. We do keep hearing the labor shortage issue, which we could point to certain government programs that really made that an issue too, couldn't we? But it is really this conflict from across the ocean that is really crippling the United States economy. And the simple fact is that the politicians in the United States, on both parties, seem to be in the pocket of Dragon Country, whether they're sleeping with spies from there and still not even getting booted out of Congress, which is just ridiculous. to just potentially being blackmailed or being bribed with large campaign contributions, all these mingled business interests with those countries over there. Our politicians are just completely not representing us. They're representing that country over there. And when push comes to shove, they're not going to protect us against what Dragon Country is doing. In fact, they're just going to stand out of the way and watch Dragon Country systematically destroy the United States supply chains as well as Europe's supply chains. And you know this is behest of Bear Country over there too, that they're taking down the European supply chains. Dragon Country has this vision of getting into a war where the other side doesn't even realize they're at war until the war is already over. And that's where it really seems like we are right now. They are waging economic warfare on us. They're trying to destroy our economy, and yet we're not doing anything about it. We're just, thank you, sir, may I have another? We don't have the will or the wisdom to protect ourselves from, say what you say about the previous president. He definitely called things out and said, we need tariffs. We need to unhinge ourselves from our dependence upon Dragon Country, or else they will use this to destroy us. And that is exactly what they are doing today. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, what about the Wefers? What about the Illuminati and all these other groups out there that want to do this or that, or the Guidestones? And, you know, I will say this. They do not seem to be the most competent folks out there. So much of what they do is exposed, and so much pushback on what they do. But it seems like they are the puppets and useful idiots for Dragon Country and Bear Country. It seems like Bear Country and Dragon Country are using these guys to destroy their own economies, destroy their own civilization. They're people who don't know what they're doing, don't have any clear vision of the future, and certainly don't have the best interests of you and I at heart. And the reason why they're being so successful is because they're being propped up by these non-Western powers that are using them to do as much damage as possible. And so I think that they're more pawns than playmakers in the background. That's my personal opinion on the thing. I think that they think so highly of themselves, but really, when push comes to shove, the only reason they're being so successful is because they're getting a lot of resources, a lot of support from Dragon Country and these other places in the background, who are making sure the right people get into the right places and are, you know, leverage and all that kind of stuff. That's my opinion on the matter, but whatever your opinion on it is, we definitely see a nefarious hand at work here in our supply chains, and it's only going to get worse. The crazy thing is that you and I can disagree on who is doing what's happening, but we can all agree on the fact that this is not just happenstance. We don't just double the amount of food plant fires. We don't have double the amount of manufacturing plant fires, and just because. You know, there's something going on there. We don't have all this massive backlog, and everyone in supply chains management, everyone has said so many times that they have never seen anything like this before. And there's just, how can it be so bad unless it is intentional at work? So, folks, I am still over in Kentucky, but I will be sending out as many updates as I can on this channel. If you want to see more updates, more interviews and walkthroughs of disaster relief trailers and what it's like to be working on site, go ahead down to my iMissions channel, and you can check out that in the description down below, iMissions, and I'll have some videos up over there. Otherwise, check out this video, or I'll see you later. Steve Poplar out.